So welcome to our second video in this series on indices and surds. In the first video we looked at the laws of indices and so much as how they apply to positive whole number powers. In this video we're just going to extend that to look at the same rules but with regard to negative powers and fractional powers. So let's have a quick run through a few examples just to illustrate what's going to happen. So in the first one we've got a bracket law going on. We've got a power inside, we've got powers outside, we've got the power applying to both bits in the bracket. So we need 81 to the power 3/4, and then we need x to the 8 to the power 3/4. Our law says we multiply, so I'm just going to multiply 8 times 3/4, give me x to the power 6. All that I need to do now is tidy up the 81 to the power 3/4, and we saw briefly in the previous video that it is the denominator that is effectively a root, and the number on the top, the numerator, that becomes a power. So I'm going to deal with the denominator first. Now you've got a calculator, so you could just do 81 to the power of a quarter, or alternatively the fourth root of 81 into your calculator. Or, let's be honest, you should be expected to realise that the fourth root of 81 is 3, because 3 to the power 4 is 81. So I've got the fourth root of 81, which is 3. So I've dealt with the numerator. So 3 then to the power of 3, because I've got the 3 on my numerator. 3 to the power 3 is 27. So there we go, I've got 27x to the power of 6. In part B, we've got a negative power, and we've also got this set up as a decimal. In this particular example, so do not get worried about the decimals, and just deal with them in the same way as we just deal with our null index laws. We're going to do that by division, so I'm going to do a subtract, noticing again that I'm subtracting a minus, so I've got to be a bit careful about that. 6 divided by 4, 1.5. 1.5 minus 0.75 is 2.25. However, we could write that slightly differently. So the 6 over 4 is the same as 3 over 2. 2.25, if you prefer it as a fraction, is 9 over 4. So we could write that in a slightly different way depending on what your preference is. Both of those answers are absolutely the same and both would be correct. In part C, what we've got is 243 to the power minus 1/5, so we need to think about what the minus power is going to do and also what the fifth is going to do. And we know that a negative power means you take the reciprocal, which means in this particular case you're going to write it as 1 over. So I'm going to take my 243 and write it as 1 over 243. And notice when I do that, the negative power there has disappeared. I've dealt with that. I've now got positive 1/5 here. All that left me do now is the fifth root of 1, which is just 1, fifth root of 243, which is 3. So my answer becomes 1/3. In the final example, again I've got a decimal power and it's much easier to deal with this as a fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do is write that 2.5 as a fraction, which is 5 over 2. I've now got 2 on the bottom, which means I'm going to have to do a square root of 9 and square root of 16. Notice I've dealt with the 2 on the bottom, so I've just left with the power 5 on the outside. Do the square root, so that's going to be 3/4 to the power 5, and then finally 3/4 to the power 5 is 243 over 1024, and there we go, I'm done.